Hi, welcome to this session on stock removal control. In this session, I will be discussing the general controls for removing material quantities from storage. I will also discuss how the material master data can influence stock removal. So this is the objective of the session. This session will introduce you to the general controls for removing material quantities from storage. So basically, stock removal process refers to removing of material stock from a storage bin. Now, this removal of stock could be for, say, for example, outbound delivery, or maybe some internal process like goods issue for scrapping or a goods issue for a production order. So the bottom line is the operation of removing material from a storage bin is called the stock removal process. So in a stock removal process, certain steps occur in the same way and in the same sequence for each stock removal process. Now these are the search process steps at different organizational levels. You can control the results of the search activities using a range of indicators. If you are using batch management, then the batch determination process also has an influence on stock removal. Regardless of whether you use indicators or batch management, it is always the creation of a transfer order for stock removal that triggers search activities. So as we can see on the screen, the stock removal process, this is a representation of the stock removal process. So there is a transaction that has happened in an inventory management, and a transfer requirement is created in the warehouse. The transfer requirement then is converted into a transfer order, and the search for a storage bin would take place depending on the controls that we have set up. So the creation of the transfer order is actually the start of stock removal process, which is actually going to search the correct storage bin. So at the start of the stock removal process, the system always searches for a suitable removal storage type, which is called the source storage type in the system. In the same way as for put away control, you have to make corresponding entries in the storage type search for stock removal control in warehouse management customizing. It is always advisable to make an entry for regular cases first, that is, for the storage type search for all stock removal activities that are not influenced by one or more indicators at various levels. As a thumb rule, whenever you are maintaining an entry for a stock put away sequence, a similar entry should be maintained for a stock removal sequence, and we should take into account all the types of stock removals that would be taking place in the client. For example, if there would be a scenario wherein we would want to pick quality stock and send it out, then we would need to make a requisite entry in the search sequence for stock removal such that the system is able to find quality stock based on the search sequence that has been prescribed or maintained in customizing. So the search starts with checking the indicator that has been maintained in the material master. Basically, the storage type indicator for stock removal is the key which would direct this search to the correct search sequence. There is also a special movement indicator and a two-step picking indicator that is maintained in the material master and which influences the way the stock removal takes place. We will see the storage type indicator for stock removal and its use in example that I'm going to show you after this particular presentation. A special movement indicator is an indicator with which we can control the put away, and which allows us to give special treatment to selected material. So we have seen the use of a special movement indicator in put away. Similarly, the special movement indicator can be used for a picking process. The two-step indicator is used to indicate that the material is going to be picked in 2 steps. So in the first step of this process, a single transfer order is created for a group of outbound deliveries or transfer requirements. Using this picking transfer order, you pick the total quantity of all the required materials together. And in the second step, the transfer orders are created to divide the removed quantity amongst the outbound deliveries or transfer requirements contained in the group. The system decides whether the material is relevant for 2-step picking on the basis of the 2-step picking indicator in the warehouse management 1 view. Only materials with this indicator are included in the process. Others are all typically picked in 1 step. So let us see this in the material master, the storage type indicator for stock removal, and the way we define the search sequence for stock removal. So I have this material which is a high rack material, and let us see the WM1 view, and we will focus on information for stock removal. So we have these storage strategies wherein we have the stock removal indicator maintain 001. Earlier for stock placement we focused on the stock placement indicator 001. For stock removal similarly we have an indicator 001. Basically we need to take care of having a correct stock removal indicator in place and specifying a stock removal sequence, because whenever we are defining a sequence to put away the material, we also need to simultaneously specify the sequence for removing the material from the same storage type. So as a thumb rule, you would maintain both the settings or both the entries which would correspond to the put away and the picking. This is the storage section indicator which influences the put away process only. Storage section indicator does not have a role whatsoever in removal process. So once we have this stock removal indicator in place for this material at this org level, the plant and the warehouse, we will maintain the search sequence in customizing. So I am here in SPRO, logistics execution, warehouse management, strategies, and activate storage type search. So this is the place where storage type indicators are defined. We have already defined storage type indicators during our put away. So this process E is for defining the put away process. So the storage type indicator 001 with the process E has been defined to put away the material in storage type 001, and if we don't have any empty bins or relevant bins in 001, then it should go and put away the material in 015. So with this sequence we understand that the material could be put away in any of these bins in storage type 001 or 015. So we also need to maintain an entry for stock removal process, and we do that over here. We have maintained an entry for operation A with the storage type indicator 001, and we have maintained that with the materials with stock removal indicator 001, it should be searched first in 001 storage type, and if the sufficient quantity is not available in 001, then the system should search in 015. Also, let us quickly understand the use of some important indicators like the stock category and the special stock indicator and the reference storage type. So basically the line which we are right now seeing is for the straightforward entry, which would be for normal material. So in a case if you would want to pick material with a quality stock or a block stock or a special material having a special stock indicator, you need to maintain entries which the system would read and then pick the material with that kind of a stock category. So for example, you have a if you have a process wherein you need to pick quality stock for maybe internal process, or want to supply the material to the vendor, which is a vendor return, and you typically keep the material in a place marking it as QI stock. So you would need to maintain an entry for the search sequence with Q stock. So what happens is that along with the storage type indicator 001, the system, when it goes to find the Q stock in 001 or 015, then it has to find the stock with stock category Q. Only then it will pick the stock category Q. If you are not giving this stock category, then the system will not pick a Q stock. So that is something you need to keep in mind, that whenever you are designing a storage type search for put away or for picking, you need to take into account all the possible types of stock categories and special stock indicators that would be coming in and going out of the warehouse depending on the process, and the system will strictly look at each and every parameter and then find the relevant search sequence. So I am maintaining an entry for Q. Next, there is something called the reference storage type. The reference storage type is used to control the way a particular material has to be picked or should be picked. Let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, you would want to pick a material for a specific process, say for example scrapping, and you would want to pick the material with storage type indicator 001. Now this material which needs to be scrapped is kept in a specific storage type 012. So what you need to do is that you need to maintain a specific entry with the reference storage type for that specific movement, and tell the system where you would find that particular material. So what I am going to do is, say for example, I am going to put block stock material with stock category. So my intention is to tell the system that whenever it is looking for a block stock, which is status S, for scrapping with a movement type 551, it should go to storage type 012. So I manage this using this particular search sequence, and I give a reference storage type 1, and I will tell you how the system is going to come and find this particular storage type. And in normal case, where we have the storage removal indicator 001, it should go to 001, 015, and for 001 storage type indicator with stock category indicator Q, it should go to 001, 015, but with stock category indicator S, it should go to 012, which is my bulk block stock. This is just an example. I wanted to give an example for how to use a reference storage type. Once I put the reference storage type here, then I assign this reference storage type to the movement type references here. So since I know I am going to use this particular reference for scrapping, I will give the reference storage type search 1 here, and I save this. So with this, what we have done is that we have successfully configured a particular case wherein when the material with the storage type indicator 001 is in block status, we would want to remove the material from 012 storage type. We have told the system that look for the reference storage type 1, and once it checks the movement type 551, it comes in this particular search sequence. It reads all the search sequence, it finds one search sequence with the reference movement type 1 over here, and once this matches, then it is going to pick this particular search sequence. So basically the hierarchy is, or the process or the steps are, storage type indicator from the material master is picked first, then the movement type, and then it comes over here and looks at the combinations, and if you have the storage type indicator maintained over here, then it would look at the reference storage type, because we have maintained the movement type, reference storage type against the movement type over here. So once it finds the combination, it is going to go ahead and pick the first storage type that we have prescribed over here. Let us see one example wherein we would check how the system really finds the search sequence for different materials. One is 3127, which is a high rack material, and the other is 3129F, which is a fixed bin material. So we have just seen material 3127, the search indicator or the stock removal indicator is 001, and the stock removal indicator for 3129F is 005. So this is 3129F and the stock removal indicator is 005. So the storage search sequence for 001 is that it is going to find material in 001 bin, and if it doesn't find sufficient stock, then it should go to 015. This storage type indicator is maintained in the material master, and the system reads the material master basically, and comes here and finds this particular sequence. Similarly, for the fixed bin material, we have the storage type indicator 005 maintained, and once it reads the 005 indicator in the material master, it would come here in the search sequence and look at the storage bin 005. So typically you maintain the search sequence in a similar way you maintain for put away, and it would also be that you should take into account all the processes that you have in the warehouse and accordingly design the search sequence such that each and every material which is put away in particular storage types, it can be removed or picked based on the search sequence. So I am back in the delivery, and this delivery we have material 3127 quantity 150 and 3129 quantity 500. So this is the stock status of 3129F, and we are checking the bin stock, and we have around 500, 500, 500 in each of these three bins. This is a fixed bin material, and we have put away the material in different bins because the fixed bin was having a capacity check. Similarly, let us see the stock of 3127. We have 100 quantity in storage type 001 in bin 010101, and we have another 50 quantity in storage type 015. So our order is for total 150 for 3127, so we are expecting that the 100 will be picked from storage type 001, and then the system would propose another 50 from storage type 015 based on the search sequence that we have maintained. And as for 3129F, we have 500. We have around 1500 quantity in 001, so it should be okay to pick material from one of those bins. So if we check carefully the picking tab, you would see the overall WM status as WM transfer order required. This is because storage location is warehouse managed, and the system determines the status based on the assignment of storage location to the warehouse. If I remove the storage location, you would not see any status over here, and the system is unable to process this particular delivery ahead. So if you go ahead, it would try to create a transfer order but get stuck because it does not know what warehouse. So if you, while creating a transfer order, if you get stuck with similar errors, then you should go back and check whether the storage location has been picked correctly. I maintain the storage location here. And let us go and create the transfer order. In case you have to create a transfer order separately in a separate transaction, we can do so in a transaction LT03. So right now, not yet picked, and let us go and pick. So we have two line items in the delivery which come up in the transfer order as well. So we will try to pick 3127 first. Now you can see, based on the storage type search, storage type indicator maintained in the material master, it has gone to the table where we have maintained the search sequence and picked the correct sequence. Now we will try to pick the material. So here we see the requested quantity is 150 and the system has picked up from the bin 010101 in storage type 001 and the target quantity is 100, meaning it has found only relevant 100 pieces in 010101 and the requested target quantity is 150 and the destination is 916. It is going to get this material in 916, and note the bin here, it is the same as the delivery number. So this is a dynamic bin which takes the same name as the document number. So after I hit enter, the requested quantity becomes 50. So the leftover 50 is picked from storage type 015, storage bin 010101. It again goes to the same destination bin. I hit enter and you will see two line items. The stock removal quantity is 150 but the open quantity is 0, meaning the entire quantity for this particular line item is picked. And we can see that there are two line items for 150. So this is how the system determines the particular search sequence in which it has to go. And then if you do not maintain a storage type indicator, then the system will throw you an error saying that there is no combination maintained for that particular material. Let us go for the next material. So the next material is 3129F and the sequence picked up is 005 as we have maintained. The stock removal quantity is 500 and the open quantity is 500. In case you know from which bin you want to pick or you want to have an overview of all the stock figures, you can click the stock figures button and you will see what all is available for you to pick. And you can choose from whatever bin you want to pick. I am picking 500 from the bin. I have specified the bin and the system would pick the same bin. Again, the destination is the same bin because this is a dynamic bin. So once I hit enter, I would see that the material has been picked from the particular source bin. In case for any reason there is a mistake, that system is not able to pick the material bin and all, you can always check the log over here. So you can find out what is the pick indicator, what is the put away indicator, and what all different controls the system has read, and then you can see the determination of source data. So this is the source from where the system has picked and this is the destination. So this way we see that both the line items have been picked to full quantity. I can save this. So the transfer order was created and I have confirmed the transfer order. So we have just seen the stock removal process, and just to show you the completion of this processes, once this delivery is fully picked, we go and do a PGI. In case our requirement is that we don't want to do a manual PGI, then we can control the PGI via a config setting which is called a shipment control. So let us quickly see how to do the shipping control as an additional information. I'm in logistics execution, warehouse management, interface, shipping, and define shipping control. Here I can define for a specific movement type how the delivery should behave in case of transfer order confirmation. So I will select the warehouse and give the movement type 601, and this is the place where we can control the behavior of the delivery. So if I select 2, the system is going to copy the WM quantity as delivery quantity and post the GR or GI. So I should select 2 and save this. So herein onwards, if I confirm a transfer order for a delivery, that confirmation will result in the PGI for that delivery. So you need not manually do a PGI. So with this we have covered the introduction to the stock removal control, and we have seen the sequence of the steps in the stock removal process. We have seen the setup of storage type search for stock removal, and also the use of material master data to control the stock removal process.